A lonely, cold-hearted millionaire walks past the same playground every night until he notices a little girl sleeping there in the freezing cold. He tries to ignore her, but one night, curiosity breaks him. What he discovers about her shattered past and her dying mother cracks open a heart that once forgot how to feel. What started as a random night becomes the moment that changes both their lives forever. Before starting the story, make sure to subscribe the channel so that you don't miss any update in future. It was 2:07 a.m. when the black Mercedes slowed down near the empty park. No one ever noticed the swings at that hour. No one except him, the millionaire. Victor Delaney. The name whispered through boardrooms and high-rise deals like a legend, cold, calculating, brilliant. But tonight, he didn't feel brilliant. He felt haunted. There she was again. Same spot, same posture, curled up on the rusted bench by the broken slide. Her hair was tangled. Her sweater 2 sizes too big. No blanket. No shoes. Just a backpack she clutched like it held her life inside. Victor had seen her before, maybe 4 or 5 nights in a row. He told himself it wasn't his business. That maybe she was just some kid pulling a prank. Some runaway. But every night, something tugged harder. Tonight, he finally stopped. His car hummed softly as he sat inside, gripping the steering wheel, eyes fixed on her small figure. The window fogged slightly from his breath. He didn't get out. He just watched. Why was she there? Where were her parents? Why that playground? Suddenly, she shifted. Victor leaned forward. She wasn't asleep. She was pretending. Her eyes were half open, watching, waiting. A gust of cold wind blew through the trees. She shivered. Her knees pulled tighter to her chest. Victor reached for the door handle, but froze. Something inside him said no. You don't get involved. You don't save people. That's not who you are anymore. He let go of the handle, put the car in drive, and left. But 3 blocks later, he slammed the brakes. Not because of traffic, not because of guilt, but because of memory. 10 years ago, he had stood in a hospital hallway, staring at a closed door, where inside, his wife and daughter were dying. He hadn't made it in time. Business had come first. He never cried. He never visited that room again. He turned his heart to steel, to numbers, to money. And for 10 years, he had been rich and empty. The next night, Victor returned. This time earlier, 9:41 p.m. The girl was already there, still awake, still pretending not to see him. Victor stepped out of the car. His $3,000 shoes crunched against the gravel path as he walked toward her. Slowly, cautiously, she noticed. Her body stiffened. He raised his hands slightly, like approaching a wild animal. Hey, he said, gently. Don't worry. I'm not here to hurt you. She said nothing, just stared. Her eyes, sharp. Not scared. Not soft. Wounded. What's your name? He asked. She didn't answer. I've seen you here a few nights, he added. It's cold. Aren't you freezing? Still no answer. He tried to smile. Look, I'm not a cop. I'm not gonna drag you anywhere. I just wanted to make sure you're okay. That's when she finally spoke. Her voice was raspy. Quiet. I'm not okay. Victor swallowed. Okay, he said, nodding slowly. Do you need food? A blanket? I can get you something. She interrupted. Why are you talking to me? He blinked. What do you mean? No one talks to me. Not since everything. Victor felt his heart twist. Since what? He asked. But she shook her head and lay back down. He stood there for another minute, then walked back to his car. The whole night he didn't sleep. Day 3. He brought coffee and a blanket. She looked at both, but took neither. What's your name? He tried again. Lily, she whispered. He smiled. That's a beautiful name. She said nothing. He handed her the blanket, placing it gently on the bench beside her. I'll leave it here. In case you change your mind. He turned to leave. But then, she's sick. Victor froze. He turned back slowly. Who? My mom, Lily said. She's in the hospital. They say she doesn't have long. Victor felt something sharp stab inside him. She told me to stay away. That it's not safe where we live. So I came here. Silence. And you sleep here every night? He asked. She nodded. Do you go to school? Used to. Now I just... Wait. For what? She looked up at the stars. I don't know. Victor sat in his office the next day, but the charts, the graphs, the stock numbers all blurred together. Lily, a girl with no shoes, no family, waiting for what? He snapped his laptop shut and drove straight to the hospital. Excuse me, he said to the receptionist. I'm looking for a woman, possibly under charity care. Her daughter's name is Lily. The woman blinked. That could be dozens of cases. She's very sick, Victor added. Dying, maybe? Please. The nurse sighed. I'll check. Minutes later, Victor stood outside room 413. Inside, a pale woman lay attached to machines, her breathing shallow. He recognized her. She had once served coffee in the cafe below his old office building. He never even knew her name. And now, her daughter slept on metal benches in freezing parks. Victor stepped closer, guilt tightening like a noose. Back at the playground, that night, he brought warm soup. Lily was gone. Victor panicked, looked around, ran. But then, a whisper. Over here. She was behind the slide, clutching the blanket he had left, tears in her eyes. I went to see your mom, he said gently. Lily froze. I know who you are, she said. You're the rich guy who fired everyone in that building. My mom used to work there. You took her job. Victor's throat closed. She looked away. Why do you care now? She asked. And that broke him. Victor stood there, speechless. For the first time in years, someone had looked him in the eye and told him what he truly was. Not a savior, not a success, but the man who destroyed lives behind polished desks and golden cufflinks. Lily's words cut deeper than any boardroom betrayal. You took her job. He didn't try to deny it. He couldn't, because she was right. He remembered the cafe shut down during a cost-cutting restructure. Profits had soared, but a dozen jobs were lost. He never thought of the faces, just the numbers. Now the consequences were staring at him through the eyes of a little girl who hadn't eaten a hot meal in days. He sat down slowly on the cold edge of the slide, keeping distance, but staying close. I didn't know, he said quietly. I didn't know your mom worked there. Lily hugged her knees, not saying a word. I didn't mean to hurt her, or you. She scoffed, barely audible. No one ever means it. They just do it. Victor looked at her. She was a child, but she spoke like someone far older, like someone who'd carried more than she should have. Who'd seen too much too soon. I went to see her, he said again. She's not doing well, but I think she was waiting for you. Lily's head turned. You think so? I know so. Her lip trembled. I miss her. A pause. I miss the way she'd braid my hair before school. The way she'd sneak cookies into my lunchbox even when we didn't have much left. She made everything feel warm. Victor felt something inside him crack. He remembered warmth too, long ago. The sound of laughter in a home that once echoed with life. Before it all turned to silence and ambition. He cleared his throat. Lily, do you want to see her? She looked unsure. She said not to come back. She was scared for me. Said the people near our building weren't safe anymore. Victor nodded. She was protecting you. But I don't want her to die thinking I left her. That I stopped loving her. He stood up gently. Then let's go. Tonight. I'll take you. Lily hesitated, glancing at her backpack. It's okay, he said. We won't be long. You can come right back here if you want. But at least, say goodbye the way she deserves. She wiped her nose, slowly rising. Okay, They walked silently to the car. Victor opened the door for her. She climbed in carefully, still unsure. The heater hummed softly. Her small fingers reached toward the vents, desperate for warmth. Victor didn't speak, but he glanced at her reflection in the rearview mirror and thought, "What have I become?" He gripped the steering wheel and drove through the night, past streetlights and shadows, toward a hospital room where a mother's heart was still beating, just barely. Neither of them knew what they were walking into, but both of them were finally walking toward something real. The hospital lights flickered as they entered the corridor. The hallway smelled like antiseptic and whispered sorrow. Lily's footsteps were small, hesitant. She held her backpack tight against her chest, her eyes darting around like she didn't belong here. Victor walked ahead, then slowed, letting her catch up. He wanted to say something, anything to make this easier. But there were no words gentle enough for what was coming. Room 413. Same as before. He stopped outside the door, turning to her. "You ready?" he asked softly. Lily bit her lip. "Will she be awake?" "I don't know," he admitted. "But she'll know you're there." She nodded once, then pushed open the door. The room was dim. A soft beep echoed from the heart monitor. Her mother lay there, thinner than Lily remembered. Paler. Still. Lily stepped inside. Victor stayed by the door, giving her space. "Mom," her voice cracked like a twig underfoot. The woman didn't stir, but her fingers twitched. Lily rushed forward, grabbing her hand. "It's me. I'm here. I didn't leave you. I just wanted to be safe like you said." A tear rolled down her cheek. "I've been at the playground. Every night. I waited. I kept the picture you gave me. I looked at it when I missed you." Victor looked away, jaw clenched. "I met someone," Lily continued, her voice trembling. "He's not as bad as I thought. He brought me here. I think he wants to help." Her mother's eyes fluttered slightly. "Just once." Lily gasped. "Mom?" There was no answer. But there didn't need to be. She had heard her. That was enough. She laid her head gently on her mother's chest, closing her eyes, listening to the faint beat beneath. Victor watched from the doorway. Something about the sight, so quiet, so raw, broke the last of his defenses. He stepped out into the hallway and pressed his back to the wall. His breaths were uneven. He hadn't cried in a decade, but tonight, his eyes burned. He thought of all the people he had walked past, all the names he never learned, all the homes shattered by one decision he signed in ink. And here was this girl, sleeping outside for days, just to obey her mother's dying wish. And still, she never gave up on love. He wiped his face quickly when he heard the door creak. Lily came out slowly, her face pale but calmer. "She squeezed my hand," she said. "She knew I was there." Victor nodded. "Good. She needed that." Lily looked up at him. "Thank you for bringing me." He didn't smile. He just placed a hand over his heart and whispered, "No, thank you for letting me." They walked out together, two strangers whose lives had collided under the weight of sorrow. But now, something had begun to shift. Not everything was healed, but something had begun to warm. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the blinds of Victor's penthouse for the first time in weeks. He hadn't noticed the view in years. Glass walls, tall ceilings, everything he owned screamed perfection. But now it felt empty, like an echo of who he used to be. He stood at the edge of the room, coffee in hand, staring down at the city that once felt like his kingdom. All he could think about was Lily. She hadn't said much after they left the hospital. Just asked to be dropped off near the same park. Victor had offered her money. She shook her head. "I'm not a beggar," she'd said. She wasn't. She was something far stronger. He hadn't slept well. Guilt twisted inside him like vines. But so did something else. A feeling he hadn't known in years. Purpose. That afternoon, he drove back to the playground. She was there again. Same bench. Same backpack. But this time, the blanket was wrapped around her. She looked surprised when she saw him. "You came back?" "I told you I would," he said, walking toward her. She moved aside to give him space on the bench, but he didn't sit. Instead, he knelt, something he never did for anyone, and placed a small brown paper bag beside her. "What's this?" she asked. "Lunch. Real lunch. Sandwich, juice, even a cookie. The good kind." She peeked inside, her face lighting up for just a second before she caught herself. "You don't have to do this," she muttered. "I know." "Then why?" He exhaled. "Because I've done enough damage. And because I want to do something right." She stared at him, not with trust, but with curiosity. "What do you want from me?" Victor shook his head. "Nothing, but I do have something to offer." She stiffened. He sat down beside her, choosing his words carefully. "There's space in my house. A room that used to belong to my daughter." Her breath caught. "I'm not saying move in forever. I know you don't trust me. I get it. But it's warm. Safe. You can stay there until we figure something better out. School, care, whatever you need." She didn't speak. "I'll even sign papers. You can have a lawyer. Make sure I can't kick you out or control you. I just don't want you sleeping on a bench anymore." The silence stretched. Victor waited. Lily looked down at her shoes, or where shoes should have been. Then, slowly, she whispered, "I don't know how to live in a house anymore." Victor looked at her, heart heavy. "Then let's relearn it together." She didn't smile, but she didn't say no. And that was more than enough. Lily stood in the doorway of the mansion like it was another world. Marble floors. A staircase that curled like something out of a fairy tale. Tall windows flooding the room with golden light. Everything sparkled. Everything was clean. Everything smelled like money. And yet, she didn't move. Victor noticed. He gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "It's just a house," he said. "Walls, floors, nothing special, until someone makes it feel like home." Lily's eyes scanned the space, unsure where to step first. She gripped her backpack tighter, like letting go might make it all disappear. He led her up the stairs, quietly. At the end of the hallway, he opened a door. "This was my daughter's room," he said. Lily hesitated at the threshold. There were soft pink curtains, shelves filled with books and teddy bears, a bed covered in a lavender quilt, untouched for 10 years. Victor's voice softened. "You don't have to change anything. You don't even have to sleep here if you're not ready. But it's yours for as long as you need." She stepped in slowly, ran her fingers across the bookshelf. "This looks like her still lives here." "She doesn't," Victor replied, staring at the floor. "Not anymore." Lily turned. "What happened?" He hesitated, then spoke. "There was an accident. I was on a business trip. My wife called, but I didn't answer. I thought it could wait. By the time I got back, it was already over." His voice cracked for the first time. "They were gone. Both of them. I missed their last breath for a conference call." Silence filled the room like fog. "I shut the door that day," he added, "and never opened it again." Lily looked around. "I think she would have liked me," she said quietly. Victor smiled through the sting. "I think she would have loved you." That night, Lily sat on the edge of the bed, still fully dressed. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. She just stared out the window at the moon. Downstairs, Victor stood in the kitchen, trying to remember how to cook. He cracked eggs, burnt toast, sliced fruit like it was an operation. He wasn't good at this. He didn't know how to be someone's safe place. But he was trying. When he knocked gently on her door with a plate of food, Lily didn't say anything. But she opened the door, took the plate, and whispered, "Thank you." Later, when she finally lay down on the bed, the warmth of the blanket wrapped around her like something she hadn't felt in years. Not comfort, not luxury, something else. Belonging. And for the first time in weeks, she didn't sleep with one eye open. Morning sunlight poured into the room, warming Lily's face. She blinked slowly, unsure where she was at first. No park. No gravel under her. No cold wind. Just a soft bed, a full stomach, and quiet. Real quiet. The kind that didn't feel scary. She sat up slowly, noticing the tray by the door. More food. A note. Didn't want to wake you. Take your time. Victor. Downstairs, Victor stood in front of a photo he hadn't looked at in a decade. His wife and daughter smiling on a beach, holding hands. He traced the edge of the frame with his finger. For years, he had blamed time, fate, bad luck. But deep down, he knew. He chose money over moments. Success over presence. And it cost him everything. Now, maybe he had one last chance to do something different. When Lily came down, barefoot, hair messy, holding the note, she didn't say much. She didn't have to. They shared breakfast quietly, clumsily. He poured orange juice. She passed him the jam. They weren't used to this, but they were both trying. I talked to the doctor this morning, Victor said gently. Your mom's still holding on. Lily looked up. Can I see her again? He nodded. Whenever you want. I'll take you. She smiled faintly. That evening, they returned to the hospital. Lily sat beside her mother, holding her hand like she did before. This time, she wasn't scared. I'm safe now, Mama, she whispered. You don't have to worry. Victor stood back, letting the moment be hers. Then, the monitor let out a long, flat sound. Lily's head snapped up. The nurse rushed in. A flurry of whispers. Movement. But it was over. Lily didn't cry right away. She just held her mother's hand tighter. Later that night, Victor found her sitting alone on the patio, wrapped in the same blanket from the park. He sat beside her. She didn't look at him. She waited for me, Lily whispered. She held on until I came back. She did, Victor replied. And you gave her peace. Lily turned to him, voice steady. Promise me something? Anything. Don't let me forget her. Victor placed a hand over hers. You won't. Because you carry her now in everything you become. And in that quiet moment, under the stars, a girl with no home and a man with no heart began something neither expected. A second chance at life. Together. Sometimes, the most broken hearts are the ones with the deepest capacity to heal others. Kindness doesn't always begin with love. Sometimes, it begins with guilt, regret, or even curiosity. But when two lost souls cross paths, one with nothing to give, the other with everything to regret, healing becomes possible. You don't need to change the world to save someone. Sometimes, saving one person saves you too.